Hi guys, this is Duke Doom and welcome to another video. First of all, before I start the video, I have to tell you something. I was gonna film a vampire video today, but it is so warm, I just can't do it. I have still both fans on, both windows are open, but I'm sweating as soon as I start to move around. So having a wig on and stuff like that would be devastating today. I hope it will be a little cooler soon. It has to stop sometime. We had thunder an hour ago, and there came some rain, but it stopped after like 3 minutes, so it didn't make any difference. I'm starting to think that the earth has drifted closer to the sun or something, and the government won't tell us. Alright, so instead I'm doing a follow-up on the last video I did, which was 5 of my favorite PlayStation 2 games. But today we are going to watch 5 of my favorite PlayStation 1 games instead. I hope you will find that interesting, and I'm sorry I couldn't do a role play. I might do a role play later this week, maybe not so advanced, I don't know, but it will come when it comes. It's better that I do something when it's cooler, and instead that I kind of like hastily do something else because I have to and stuff like that. So, first of all, I want to name 2 games that I don't own on physical disc. One I have on Xbox 360 as an arcade game, and that is of course Symphony of the Night Castlevania, which is an awesome, amazing game. It's one of the best action role player side. It's not a side scroller, but it is a 2-dimensional game in which you again chase Dracula through his Castlevania, and fighting demons and skeletons and huge bosses. And it also has a lot of secrets. It's an amazing game. And if you haven't played it, don't be afraid that it looks... I don't think it looks dated. I think it looks awesome. But if you don't like 2D games, don't let that scare you, because Castlevania Symphony of the Night is one of the best games ever made. The second one is a game that I played a lot when I was younger, and it's a really bad game. It's called Steel Harbinger, and they use the technique they use for Mortal Kombat when they kind of digitalize an actress who is like, it's kind of like a shoot 'em up, and she runs around shooting aliens. I don't know, it's really bad, it's hard as hell, but I liked it. So Steel Harbinger. Alright, let's go into the games that I actually have and can show you. And first up is a game I've played a lot. It is Star Wars Rebel Assault 2. Now this game is also actually like a bit cheesy. They use FMV, full motion video, of actors playing roles. Most of them don't do a particularly good job. And the game is missions, and they vary from, pop up and shoot, to you have to drive speeders through the forest of Endor, and you have to ride the Millennium Falcon. It's a lot of variety in this game. It comes on 2 discs, and I remember I had a PlayStation 1, then I sold it, and I really missed this game. Rebel Assault, The Hidden Empire, Rebel Assault 2. And I know, unfortunately, there's really no pictures on the back except some X-Wings and a TIE Fighter or whatever it is. But yeah, I love this game. It's cheesy, but it's fun. I think I might be one of the few who really likes this game, but if you like Star Wars and you want to have a fun time, I would recommend this. Rebel Assault 2. Alright, let's continue. I'm going to take the most obvious one, so we get that out of the way. This is of course Final Fantasy Part 7. And the game that brought the Final Fantasy series into the new generation after it had only been on Super Nintendo and stuff. And the story is complicated, but you follow a group of rebels who fight against the all-powerful empire called Shinra, who is like using the planet's spirit energy and draining it, hence killing off the planet. And a mercenary or a soldier without really a memory called Cloud. And I guess you know who Cloud is. Yes. Joins these rebellions, and after a while a new enemy shows up in the form of Sephiroth, which is the baddest evil of all. Now this game is full of emotions. It has the most amazing music by Nobuo Uematsu. I think I butchered that name. And Tetsuya Nomura, I think his name is also probably butchered by me, made a design for the characters. He has after that become kind of like a stable name with Square Enix, but they weren't actually Square Enix when they made this, they were just Squaresoft. Final Fantasy is a game you can play for hours on end. I don't think I lie if I say that you can probably play it for 200 plus hours if you're going to collect all the magics, the golden chocobos, the hidden summonings, and explore every part of the game. This is for me the absolutely best Final Fantasy game out there. I know many people think that Final Fantasy 6 is a great game. I love that one too. I actually have that one too. But Final Fantasy 7 will always have a place in my heart. And even though the graphics have aged, it's still so damn playable. Final Fantasy 7. Alright, let's move on. This is a game that I actually was hesitant, but because I have only this in the series, this is Loaded 2, Reloaded. It's a top-down shooter where you control one of three characters just blowing everything up. Now, the reason I'm a little bit doubtful if I would include this is because part 1, I think, is better. It's less complicated, the levels are more straight up, and I don't know, I'm not a technical genius, but they changed like the way they render the characters and the backgrounds from part 1 to part 2, and they use like polygons instead of, I don't know, is it called sprites? I really suck at that, but you know, they are more blocky looking, and yeah, so I would prefer to have had Loaded 1, but this is Reloaded, and it's hell of a lot of fun, this one too. It's bloody, if you can call it bloody, you know, big polygon red dots. But it's a fun game, and yeah, I recommend this for everyone who likes a brain dead shoot 'em up. It's fun. So, Reloaded for the PlayStation 2. Next up, we have a game I bought on a whim, and it turned out to be a really good game. This is Darkstone, and it is a role-playing game in the same vein as Diablo. As a matter of fact, it actually kind of is Diablo but with other names. You have to walk like top down in worlds, caves, dungeons, slaughtering everything, collecting loot. And I like this game a lot. When I kind of misplaced my Diablo 1 disc, I bought this. I didn't really know what it was, but it turned out to be like a good Diablo clone that I have been playing a lot. I don't think I actually have finished this game. I had a PlayStation 1, but that broke. Then I had a PlayStation 2 and that broke, but recently, just a month ago, so I bought a new PlayStation 2, and this is compatible with PlayStation 2. All of these games are, by the way. So Darkstone, Evil Reigns. It's a very good action RPG. If you like loot and if you like, slaughtering hordes of enemies, leveling up, and yeah, Diablo more or less. Alright, and finally we have another role-playing game, action role-playing game, or adventure. This is Bloodonnum, the Legacy of Kain. I love this game. It's like, this is PlayStation for me. I think this was one of the first games I've actually owned for PlayStation. You play as Kain, who has been killed but awoken as a bloodthirsty vampire, and you follow his quest to avenge his death and take back his throne, and so on and so forth. It's a top-down RPG kind of game where you control Kain, and he gains different vampiric abilities along the way. He also have the ability to feed on enemies after they have been staggered, so he can regain health. You have health potions, but one of the best ways is to just suck on an enemy, and he can do it from a bit afar, so it just slurps into his mouth. This game spawned 3 or 4 sequels on the PlayStation 2. Soul Reaver, where you actually don't play as Kain, you play as Raziel, one of Kain's generals. And Kain is actually the enemy in that game. But I think there actually was a Blood Omen where you controlled both Kain and Raziel, or if you just controlled Kain in that one. It was a while since I played it. But yeah, of course, when it comes to games, I gotta check when this came out. It was 1996, so it was right when the PlayStation was new, and it has aged a bit, but it has a charm. The graphic has a charm that I really love, and I wouldn't want it any other way. If they made a remake of that game, I would like it to look pretty much the same. Maybe more like Diablo-ish, because Diablo 3-ish graphic-wise, but I would still want it to be a top-down RPG with the menus. It has some really boring loading screens. No, not loading screens per se, but it has a lot of loading, which can get a bit tedious, especially when you're in the battlefield. I remember one specific part of the game. You're in a battlefield and you come across, I think it might be like a camp, and you can go into the soldiers' tents and kill them and rob them, RPG, and it has to load like 10 seconds every time you go in and out of those huts, and there are like 14 of them, so it can get a little bit boring. But if you can stand that, really, 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 really good games, all of these. I want to take a couple of minutes here in the end to recommend a couple of other PlayStation games, because it is hard to come by all these games nowadays. Screenshot. Destruction Derby 2. I played the hell out of that game. I love it. Ridge Racer Type 4. One of the best car games I've ever played. And of course you have the Resident Evil series, 1 and 2 at least. 3, I kind of lost interest. I don't know why. But Resident Evil 1 and 2, you have so many PlayStation games. And as I build up my library of PlayStation 1 games, I will come back and do more videos like these, because these are, except for Final Fantasy, which is really one of my all-time favorites of all platforms. But I have so many more games from the PlayStation era that I really love. Doom, you have Quake 2, which I never played on the PC. And yeah, it's just a smorgasbord of nice titles for the PlayStation 1. Alright. I hope it will be cooler outside so I can really start doing role plays. I might do like a mic brushing video in this week here. But the big titles will have to wait, unfortunately, like my Swedish Vampire series, because it demands a lot of makeup and clothing and stuff like that. Alright guys, I'm going to walk the doggos. It's almost dark. No, it isn't. Who am I fooling? It's still sun, I think. And it's hot. I'm sweating like crazy. Alright guys, I love you. Remember, there can't be any light without darkness. And if I don't melt, I will see you in the next video. Bye.